Welcome to the Lean Out Your Business podcast, a show dedicated to helping entrepreneurs accelerate business growth and simplify success. I'm your host, Krista Grasso, and I've been working with businesses for more than 2 decades to help them lean out and optimize what's working while eliminating anything that's not adding value. So if you are ready to get more time back in your day, more profit in your business, and to do business differently, growing and scaling on your terms, let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I am so excited today to introduce you to Relinde Moors. I met Relinde in New York City at an event that we both attended. We got to spend 3 amazing days together. We did a mastermind and retreat together one day. We went to Selena Sue's 10-year business anniversary party the next day, and we got to go out and explore the city a little bit. We got to do some swinging on the roof of this really cool swanky place in New York City that was basically built for Instagram moments with their little swings and signs and all of the things. So we just had a blast, and I instantly fell in love with her and her business model. And I'm so excited for her to be able to share her brilliance with you today. And we're going to be talking a lot about the energetics behind business success. She has some really interesting things that she does to help her clients get a lot of success in their business and break through limiting beliefs. And so I'm super excited to introduce you to Relinde and dive into all the things today. Relinde, welcome. I'm so excited you are here.
Thank you, Krista. I'm really excited to be here. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. So let me tell you a little bit about her, and then we are going to dive right in. So Relinde Moors is the founder of the Elevate to Thrive Academy, which helps vision-driven coaches and experts make more impact and more money by elevating their energy, their story, and their sales. Her clients have turned their freelance work into multiple 6-figure thriving businesses, changed to 3-day work weeks, which who does not want that, while doubling their revenue, and moved to their dream country with their 100% location independent business. So her signature approach is really all about coming down to creating clear and simplified business strategy and elevating your subconscious beliefs to support your goals. I am all about clear and simplified business strategy. So this is going to be an awesome conversation. Relinde, let's start with energy and what role that plays in business and why that's something that we should be thinking about or even considering as we're looking at growing the success of our business.
I love that question. Okay, so energy is such an interesting word because I feel we use it in so many different ways, and it can also become quite vague, can be a little bit mysterious. Now, I'm studying now still since 14 years with this Kung Fu Grandmaster Malaysia. And Kung Fu and Qigong, those are energy arts. So I'm going to go there for a minute. And what I really learned from him is that there is a way to perceive energy that it becomes very tangible. And one of the main principles in these arts and also in Chinese medicine is simply energy is either flowing or it is stuck. And this really got to me because that can manifest in a business as well. And if it is stuck, the energy, we get problems. If it would be on the physical level, we might get illness or anything like that. If it is on the business level, if there's stuck energy saying, I don't know, you have immense growth, you have lots of clients, but you don't have the capacity, then there's also stuck energy, right? And we need to unleash the energy so that it can flow again. So in a really, I would say in a meta level, on a bigger level, it is about getting the energy flowing. And there's different ways to do that. But one of the ways, and I think we'll talk about that today, is looking at limiting beliefs because they also keep the energy stuck in your own mind, in your way of how you show up for your business. So that is how I look at energy in the business, but also as the business owner for the entrepreneur, him or herself.
Yeah, I love that. It's either flowing or it's stuck. It makes so much sense when you say it. And yet, I think unless you do have a lot of intentionality around it, it's not something that everybody thinks of. And that's why I'm so excited that we're having this discussion today, because I think it is so important to think about that and how do you get it flowing? And I think that probably starts with recognizing where we're stuck. So what are some of those limiting beliefs that you see quite often for entrepreneurs and business owners? And what are some things that they can do about it?
Yes. First of all, I want to say that the beliefs are very often not the obvious ones. So the most sneaky beliefs are, first of all, the ones that we are thinking that they are facts. And they're actually not facts, but they're beliefs. And also they're the ones that we just get proven over and over again. So you asked me, like, what are the beliefs that you see with entrepreneurs a lot? They would be beliefs around worthiness, even though this even happens with an entrepreneur that can be really successful. Not long ago, I was working with somebody who's literally built multiple businesses, making millions already, but still there was this belief of, I am not good enough the way I am, just the way I am. And the interesting part was this was actually driving him his whole life. It was like, okay, I'm going to work harder to prove that I'm good enough. And he had built all the things, but still that belief wasn't there. So it actually led to a bit of a breakdown in a way, because he needed to start aligning that embodying I'm good enough into his business as well. So that's what I want to say. It's not always that obvious. Of course, there's a lot of belief around I have to work really hard. I have to work hard to earn success. I have to work hard in order to make money. There's lots of belief around money in different shapes and ways and forms, which could also be a belief around, oh, I have this and that profession, or I am maybe a wellness entrepreneur, or I'm a healer, or and then you can't make so much money because people won't pay as much money for that. So you see, so there's all kind of beliefs that can trip us up in different ways and forms.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find too, anybody who grew up in a corporate environment, especially, or even had any type of regular job throughout their life, but especially if they came up in corporate, you're rewarded for how hard you work.
Yeah.
If you are the first person in the office and the last one to leave, you get rewarded for that. And so you just have all of these behaviors ingrained in you. And the irony is, so often people leave that type of environment because of those things, but then they bring it with them into their own business because it just gets so deeply seated into who they are that they're not even conscious of the fact that they think they have to work really hard and put in longer hours and do more constantly in order to have or be successful. Do you find that as well?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And what I love that you say here is you choose maybe to become a business owner because you want the freedom, right? Very often we want the freedom, we want the financial freedom, and then we bring in those old patterns and those old programs that run on our minds. And that is not giving us freedom, actually. It's saying you need to work hard, you need to work these long days, and you're going to be rewarded if you like almost deplete yourself working so much. And that old programming is just not true. And you chose the path of freedom, but you didn't internalize already being as free as you would want to be. So this exactly when I work with people creating, I say their CEO schedule, let's create it. Let's, really align how you function best with how you want to run your business. I really encourage them to dream up a schedule that they would really like. And then we have to bust some beliefs around that being possible or them being worthy to doing it their way. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked a little bit about that inner work. And so, how much is our success dependent on the inner work? And what, as entrepreneurs, should we be doing when it comes to inner work to really set ourselves up for that sustainable success in business and just in life in general?
Yeah. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel it's just such a big part. There's a difference between sometimes people say, but you are your business. I'm like, no, you are not your business. Like you are infinitely worthy, successful, beautiful, you're everything you need to be. And you create a business that is a separate entity. Yet you are maybe the heartbeat of the business. You're at least the inspiration and the one that gives it the ideas and that leads the team, and depending on which stage of business you are in. So if you don't want to grow yourself, it is really hard to grow your business because there are going to be challenges. It's going to be triggering sometimes. It's going to bring up stuff where you just really need to be willing to look at what is ready to up level or to elevate inside of you. And I think that is actually a beautiful gift, that business in that sense is a self-development journey. And that is great because it's not going to only benefit the business, but it's going to benefit all parts of your life as well.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think our business can only grow as much as we, as the leaders of that business, are growing as well.
Yeah.
And so I think it takes a constant commitment to be up leveling ourselves and to constantly be trying to recognize and break through limiting beliefs. And we hit them at every single level. You break through one level of limiting beliefs, and oh, look, there's a whole new level waiting for you. So I think it's the gift that keeps on giving, but that's the work. And just as you're always looking at how can you scale your business more, or what's that next strategy that you can do to get to the next level in the business, I agree with you fully. I think it's that inner work that really helps us to level up as the leaders of our business. And that's what enables that next level of success that we're looking for.
Yeah.
You can't get there by just putting your head down and working harder nonstop and neglecting to really do the inner work, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's fun. It's not always fun. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it is really rewarding. Yeah,
I agree. Sometimes it's the hardest work that you will ever do in your lifetime, right?
true.
Working through, especially some really deep seated or tough things. But boy, that feeling when you recognize something and you're like, this is what's been holding me back. I didn't even realize I thought this.
Yeah.
Now that I realize it, I can do something about it. And to all of a sudden start to see some of those things that feel like invisible blocks start to just fall away.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no better feeling, even if it was hard and uncomfortable work to get to that point.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, if there's somebody listening, which I hope you all are really committed to doing that inner work, but what would you say to them? What are some things that they could do, or some tips or some tactics that they could take to start to really do that work so that they can up level themselves in their businesses?
Yeah, beautiful question. So, the first thing to know is that if you look at beliefs, they live in your subconscious mind. Most of them get programmed in your first 7 years of existence. So, they come with you for a long time. As I said, they sometimes appear as the truth. So, really beautiful gift to give to yourself is to really look at thoughts or things that come up. And I would say they come up when you are challenged, when you get maybe really disappointed. Let's say you had 3 sales calls and everybody said no, and there is, even if it's a tiny little voice in your head saying, my offer isn't like that great yet, or I couldn't convince them, or what's wrong with me that I didn't make that happen. Even if that's a tiny little voice, I want you to actually do not push it away. No, I know that's not true. I know that you know that consciously, but to write it down. And I say it's that as if you take things from your subconscious mind, almost like in the dark, and you pull them out into the light. And the moment you do that and you write them down on paper, they already become less powerful. If you try to ignore them, they become actually more powerful. And then when you write them down and you look at that, maybe I'm not good enough, or maybe I really screwed up on that opportunity, or whatever thoughts that you have that limit you in any way, can you then find a positive reframe that you can, in some way or form, already feel or embody? So you want to not make that, let's make it very simple, right? So let's say your thought comes up, I do feel not good enough since I did this thing not in the way I wanted to. So the belief I'm not good enough kind of comes up for me. Now, how do you want to reframe it? If you want to reframe it, I'm perfect the way I am, but you really don't feel that, it might not work at the moment, but you can find a reframe that feels really good. So maybe it is, I am good enough because I do my best in every moment, for example. And if that feels reassuring, then I would say, again, write that one down and put it on a post-it on your mirror, like on your computer, and just help your brain repeat that and get used to that thought that changes your perception of that certain event or emotion that's come up for you.
I love the way that you describe that, because one of the things that I've always struggled with in affirmation is you take this thing that's this deep issue and then you try to reframe it as if everything is perfect and wonderful, but it's such a wide gap between how you actually feel and what you're trying to say, that it just never really resonated with me. But I like that reframe of taking where you're at and finding almost like that next, like a stretch, but something that's not so far that you don't believe it,
Yeah.
so that you can start to shift that belief. That's a really beautiful approach. And I really love the way that you shared that.
I'm happy to hear. Yeah, it's super powerful. Because in that way, you can really soothe yourself and your nervous system and just not get trapped in what the subconscious thought is trying to do. By the way, it's not your subconscious is not evil. It's actually trying to protect you. It's just like trying to keep you safe. If we've been believing this for so much time, it has brought us good things as well. We want to keep this belief. There's all kind of good reasons, quote unquote good reasons for it, but still it's really nice to ease yourself out of that. Yeah.
So there's something that I see a lot with my clients and even members in my mastermind is if they have a launch they're in the middle of, for example, and it's going really, they feel on top of the world. But if it's not going well, if not enough people showed up live, if not enough people are booking calls, if not enough people are converting, all of a sudden they're on that roller coaster of this isn't working and I don't even know if my offer's right and I need to change everything. And it's part of that in the moment stress reaction, spin reaction. But I think that when we hit those lows, it's where some of those limiting beliefs really do come up. And so as a group, we're always trying to remind everybody of how amazing their program actually is. And they always get through it. They always come out the other side.
Yeah.
But how do you minimize the roller coaster? How do you not be so dependent on external things happening, like a launch going really well instead of a launch going poorly, in order to feel good about the results?
Yeah, thank you. That's a beautiful question. This is really what we're wanting to have as entrepreneurs, to have that resilience, to not go down. So the first thing is to look at what is actually happening in the body. As you said, it's really a stress reaction, and it is a stress reaction. Your nervous system is shooting to a point of fight, flight, free, collapse. So the first thing might not even be something with the thoughts, but might actually you maybe want to do something physical. You want to do something like get out and all the cliche things, but get out in nature, get a little bit of movement, maybe have a nap. I don't know, have something that calms you down. And of course, also that is breathing, like taking a couple of really deep breaths. It's really basic, but it really helps already to get that reaction out of the literally out of the body. And when you've done that, I think it's what I like to do. And this is really powerful. I like to ask myself, what is this situation teaching me? The same can be as a person really triggers something in you. What is this person teaching me? What is this situation teaching me, quote unquote, teaching me or showing me? And that will bring about certain beliefs. So I remember having something like this when I just started my online business. I was still living in Bali and I had created this first online course. I had followed somebody's complete step by step plan. I created Facebook ads. I put, I think, almost all my savings into that. I recorded the whole course, all the beginner mistakes. I did everything I will tell my clients not to do right now. But I did all those things. And we ran the whole campaign and we had one sale at almost at the final day. I was like, oh my God, okay, at least one. And then this person, after the 14-day trial period, she actually asked for a refund. So I had this huge breakdown, and I didn't know it back then as clearly, but what really was being triggered was a belief around failure. Like, everybody's going to find out that actually I'm a failure. It's that imposter fear. And it caused such a big meltdown. And I think that it's really beautiful in these moments to first take care of your body and soothe yourself. And then, second, look at, you know what? If I'm really happy to look in the mirror and take the deeper lesson of this, is there a belief around me failing or I'm not successful or anything like that? And then again, write that one down and look at it and say, how could I find a more soothing, a more empowering thought that I can place instead of that one, and then practice that thought? with your conscious mind, because you really dig something up that was deep down and might come from the past and all that.
I love that. And I love, of course, that you demonstrated resilience by going and going, because now your business is super successful.
Yes.
It's wonderful. And if you had let that knock you off course and said, you know what, I wasn't meant to do this and nobody wants what I have to offer and I'm not worthy enough and I'm not good enough, you could have been on a completely different path. And so I think it is so great to hear those types of stories, because we've all had experiences like that. And those of us who are still here are here because we kept going. And so I love that for you. And I'd love for you to tell people more about what you do today and how you work with people, and tell us what's coming up next for you. Tell us all the things.
Exciting. Okay. So I run this beautiful group, Elevate to Thrive Academy. And in the Elevate to Thrive Academy, so there's this basis that we work on energy all the time. We work on energy, story, and sales. I work with entrepreneurs that are very often, they're either multi-passionate or they have different backgrounds. They want to bring things together, create their own method, their own system, and then work with people in a way that really brings them financial abundance, of course, and freedom, but also really a sense of purpose. So that is what I do. What else did you want to know? Oh yeah, what's coming up? So I'm really excited about inviting more people in. We have recently created more spaces into the Elevate to Thrive Academy. So there's more people coming in. It's also not just me. I work with a human design expert and a copywriter. So it's a really beautiful environment for entrepreneurs to grow and their businesses and make more impact, more sales.
Excellent. I love it. Now tell people where they can find you. And I think you have a great freebie for them as well. So let us know where we can find you and all of the things.
Yes, absolutely. So my website, I'm also on Instagram and Facebook, all with my own name. So Relinde Moors. I'm sure it's written down because it's a Dutch name. It might not be as easy to spell, but you can find me at relindemoors.com, and again, also on the socials. I have a beautiful giveaway, which is all about how to shift your beliefs. And I'm doing that specifically around 5 beliefs that hold people from moving to their next income level. So I've mapped out these 5 beliefs that really create that upper limit in creating more revenue, and how you can work through them and how you can shift them. And I go a little bit deeper in that freebie on not alone reframing the belief, but also looking into, so how come that I have this belief now, and how can you actually change that story, for that internal story for yourself.
That's excellent. I can't wait. I'm sure you're all going to go and grab that freebie. You'll find all the links down below in the show notes. But what is that link for those who are listening now?
Yeah, so I actually created a link especially for your listeners. So the link is relindemoors.com/lean. And that is why you will find that freebie.
Excellent. All right. So there's a question I ask every guest, and I cannot wait to hear what you have to share. And that is, how do you work smarter, not harder, and keep things lean in your business?
Yeah, so I really, all the things about simplifying and, of course, systems and all the things that you teach, but I'm going to say today, I'm going to go with actually really what we talked about. So facing the inner work and work through it, and don't spend years like walking around it, but actually take that time, take those 10 minutes, 15 minutes to find a belief, to reframe it, so that you just make it so much easier for yourself, because that's what is going to happen. You actually are going to save so much time, because you will not be procrastinating and you will not be overworking or overthinking things when you take that moment of a deep dive.
I love it. Brilliant. Any final tips for people on how to tap into how they can leverage their energy and do that inner work to get to that next level?
Whew, there's so much I want to say to that, but I think one thing is you don't have to do it alone. I was just speaking with a friend about that. I was like, when I got into dance academy, I remember being, you have to audition quite long. It's like a whole week of auditions. And I remember being in and like being selected. So right the next day, I was in Amsterdam and was super happy. We were sent to a doctor and a physiotherapist and a dietitian and like all these people. And I felt, wow, they're really taking me seriously. I felt important. I felt taken seriously, and I had a team around me that was taking care of me. And I really felt that I've really remembered that. So now I never hesitate hiring coaches, but also hiring an energy worker, hiring a physical therapist, whatever it is that you need, because running a business is a high level of sports or a high level of arts, like being a dancer. You need that support and you don't have to do it all by yourself.
Absolutely brilliant. Relinde, thank you so much for being here. It's lovely to see you again. I'm so happy that all the listeners get to meet you and are aware of your incredible work. So everyone, check out the show notes for all those links. Go check her out. And Relinde, thanks so much again for being here. Everyone, I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Lean Out Your Business podcast. I hope you got a lot of value and actionable insights from today's show and would love if you take a moment to leave us a review. If you have any questions on today's episode or on how to lean out your business, join us over in our private Facebook community where every week we do live training and Q&A, and I'd love to have you be part of the conversation. Head to leanoutmethod.com/group to join us. And before you go, be sure to subscribe to the show so you're the first to know when we release a new episode. We'll see you next week.